We haven't got to the worst yet. They're also going to charge you. Today, I want to tell you that your bank sucks. Your bank is very bad and is treating you poorly. They are keeping you poor and they love it because it keeps them rich.
You look poor.
They get richer as you get poorer. Literally poorer. Every single year, you lose money thanks to your bank. And they take your money, go invest it, and make all of those profits and keep it all to themselves. Now, you're probably wondering how they're doing this to you, and you should also be wondering why you're letting them do this to you for all these years, even now when there are much better options for banks that won't screw you over. Absolutely. And so I'm talking about all of these banks out there, the Wells Fargos, the JP Morgan Chases, the PNCs and the Santanders, name it. If there is a brick and mortar version of them, if they have a store with people working in it, they're screwing you over. They're taking your money and they're laughing to the bank, to their bank. Wherever they keep their money, wherever they invest their money, they're laughing to there with your money in hand. And now let me tell you how they're doing that. So they told us this story that, oh, it's great to save. You should save your money because you need to make sure that if there is an emergency tomorrow, that you have an emergency fund, that you have some cash saved away that you're not touching, that's always going to be there for you, just in case something goes wrong. And so they say, give me your money. Give us your money. We'll hold it in this vault over here. Be nice and safe. No one will ever touch it. And if you ever need it, come and get it. And it's insured up to $250,000. So if you have up to $250,000, we'll put it in our vault. We'll insure it. Make sure that if you ever need it, you can get it. And here's the cherry on top. Just because we're nice, we'll give you interest on that money. Just because we have to give you something, we'll give you 0.01%. Not 1%, not 0.1%, 0.01% on all of that money you give us. That's sitting there forever because you're going to need it one day, right? You're welcome. You can thank us later. And what they don't tell you is that they're going to take that money that's sitting in their vault, the money that you gave them. They're going to take 90% of it because they have to keep a little bit of it to just in case there is a bank run and they have to give you some of your cash back. They have to keep only 10%. That means that 90% of your money that is sitting in their vault, that they say is sitting in your vault, is not actually sitting there. They're taking your money and they're reinvesting it elsewhere. They take your money, they invest it in real estate, they invest it in stocks, they invest it in giving out loans, and they get paid very lucrative interest. They get paid very well. And all these interest rates you're hearing about from the Federal Reserve being risen every couple of months now because they're trying to fight inflation, which we're going to cover in another video. And you should definitely subscribe if you want to understand how the Federal Reserve screws you over. But let's get back to the banks. They're getting paid all this interest on your money that you gave them to hold on to you because they said that you need an emergency fund, which you do. I agree. You should have some savings. They take all your money. They give it out to people like myself, right? Businesses, people who have businesses, who invest in businesses, buy real estate and other assets, right? That's a good thing. You should definitely be investing. You should be people like me. You should be like us, the business owners or the investors who help businesses grow. They give your money to me and the big bankers and the hedge funds on Wall Street so that we can go make more money on top of that. We invest the money that you gave to the bank and they gave to us, and we give it to somebody else. They do lots of work and make nice returns, get paid nice revenues or rents from somebody else, right? If they're a landlord, they get paid very well. And then in return, we charge them interest or we charge them a percentage yield. They have to return to us some amount on our investment. So we get paid that. We could call that interest. We get paid some amount of interest as the business owners or the investors. And then we have to pay the bank, your bank, We have to pay them for loaning us that money, your money. And so we paid out maybe, let's say 6%, 7% as the Federal Reserve increases their rates, it goes higher, maybe even 8%, maybe even 16%, right? Depending on what the environment is at the time. Right now it's going higher. So we're in the 16% range if we're doing personal loans. If we're doing business loans, might be around 10, 5, whatever the case is. We're paying your bank, let's just call it 10%. We're paying them 10% on the money they lent us, your money. So if they give us $100, we're giving them $10. $10. Thanks to your money, they're making $10. And then what do? They turn around to you after making $10 on the $100 of your money that they gave us. And they say to you, hey, thanks for your money that you gave us. We turned that into something. We made some money. We did our thing. Don't worry about it. It doesn't matter to you. You don't know anything. You don't invest. You're just a layman. You don't really care about investing. You don't really care for money. You're just a good person. You're above money, right? But we're nice people as a bank, your bank. And for you giving us your money to hold in case you ever need it as an emergency fund, for your troubles, on our $10 that we made, we'll give you 0.01%. That's 1% of 1%. So on $10, let's do that math. Let's do that math real quick. 0.01%. That can't be, right? But it is. It is 0.01%. And so on that $10 that they made, if they make $10 from your money, on $100 of your money, they will give you back 10 cents. 10 cents. 0.01%. So your bank is completely screwing you over. Your bank is making a living off of you. And in return, you get nothing. You get laughed at. And in fact, they take your money and they help increase inflation, which then the Federal Reserve has to react, and so they increase interest rates, and then we go into a whole cycle of a recession, and you lose your job. You have to pay more for rent. You have to pay more for food. You gotta pay more for gas. You gotta pay more for entertainment. You gotta pay more for healthcare just to survive. But they're holding your money in the vault, they say, just in case you ever need it. And we haven't gotten to the worst part yet. Because the worst part is, in good times, in the best times, ideal times, that money you gave your bank to save for you just in case anything ever happens will be worth less every single year by 2%. 2%. So if you put $100 in there, next year is going to be worth $98. And the year after, $94 or whatever it is. And every year is losing 2%. That's ideally. That's in ideal times. Right now, this summer, we had inflation of 9.1%. 9%. That's almost 5 times more. So let's just call it 10%. Because that's what's happening in other countries. If you put $100 in that vault to hold it for you, just in case you need it tomorrow, and you go back to them tomorrow, next year, due to inflation, your $100 will now be worth $90. You just lost $10. Say you put $1,000 in there. That's $900 you only have now. You just lost $100 in bad times. So you're losing lots of money every year because surely you don't invest. You're above money. You're above returns and yields and interest rates. You don't care to take the time to learn that stuff because you're fine. It's too complicated. It's too hard. Instead of watching BullAcademy.org and learning what the stock market is, what stocks are, how to invest, and long-term investing, and interest rates, and inflation, and all those topics, all those concepts that are very simple concepts, and takes you maybe an afternoon to learn, and then over some time to really practice and understand better. Instead of doing that, you just go to work, you make some money. The government takes their cut, 30%, 20%, whatever it is. You give the bank that money as well. They make all that money on it, 10% in interest to people like myself, business owners and investors who they lend the money to. They come back to you and they give you 0.01%, 1% of 1% on that money. So you make 0.01%. Your bank pays you 0.01% because they're nice. They're nice guys. They're holding your money for you, like your mom will hold your money for you when you will do something nice and your uncle or your grandma will give you some cash. Your mom said, "Let me hold it." That money's never coming back to you. They'll tell you other stories, but you know that money's gone. So the bank takes your money. They take your money. They give it to me and the other investors and business owners. They make good profits on it, and you get nothing because you don't care to go figure out how they're screwing you, why they're screwing you. You don't look around and see, oh, are there other options than JP Morgan Chase or Wells Fargo or Santander or all of the other brick and mortar banks out there that have been just milking Americans dry forever? You don't do that research and find out that, oh, there's a whole suite of online banks that will pay me 2% interest rates to offset inflation. So at least if I give them $100 and I come back next year, my $100 will still be worth $100 because inflation is at 2% in ideal times and they're giving me 2%. So at the very least, if I do the math and do the real calculations to understand what my money is worth, it will still be worth $100. And if I don't do all that math, then at least I can feel that I am 2% richer every single year because I'm getting paid 2% on the money that I give my bank because they care about me. And at least they're passing on some of the profits they're making. Because 0.01% is nothing. That's the kind of money you give to someone at a restaurant who you hate. If you go to a restaurant and the waiter treated you awfully, just like dirt, you wouldn't give them zero. You wouldn't give them nothing. Instead, you would, just to get back at them, just to take a little stab at them, or get a little bit of a laugh in, like your bank is, you would give them 0.01% as a tip so that they can look at it and know that you did that on purpose, that you're driving away laughing as they get nothing in tip, but you took the time to spite them. And they will feel that. They won't forget that. That's what your bank does to you if they're paying you 0.01%. That's what JP Morgan Chase is doing to you. That's what Wells Fargo is doing to you. That's what Santander, PNC, my mom had PNC when I was younger, and we haven't even got into the worst yet. We haven't got into the worst yet. They're also going to charge you overdraft fees. If you go to your bank, give them $100, they give you a debit card, you go to the store, and you accidentally go over by, let's say, $1 at the grocery store because your kid wanted something and you couldn't say no, or the kid needed something at the pharmacy and you forget that you don't have enough money in that bank to cover the price of your insulin or the price of whatever cancer drug that you're dealing with. If you go over $1, they're going to charge you $25, $35, $50 in overdraft fees, and they make billions of dollars every single year. Some of them are 15% of their revenues in overdraft fees, charging you to access your money. And just by making a simple mistake, going over just a little bit, they're going to charge you. They're going to your bank is supposed to be holding your money and giving you interest in return for the activities that they get into and make money off of your money. But instead, they give you nothing. They laugh in your face, and then they charge you if you mess up, if you take a little bit back, take a little too much by accident. But you don't look around and see, oh, there are alternatives to this. I could be saving my money elsewhere. I could take my money from JP Morgan Chase and put it into some online bank. The ones that don't have to pay clerks to just sit there, take your money and put it in the vault before the big guys up top come and take it and actually go invest it elsewhere into people like me who invest in the stock market, real estate, and my own businesses, which you should also be doing, and you can learn how to at bullacademy.org. They take your money, they sit there at the counter, they get paid for doing that, take your money, give it to the vault being the big pockets. They take it, invest it, make their 10%, give you 0.01%. The reason they're not giving you more is because they have to pay that teller. They have to pay someone to sit there. The online banks don't have to. They save so much money by not having brick and mortar stores, and they take that money and they give it back to their customers. They reinvest it into their customers. They give you 2%, even more than 2%. Sometimes they beat inflation. So you're actually making real returns. So there are returners out there. And then back to overdraft fees. They don't charge you overdraft fees. There are options out here, people. There are 500 million bank accounts in America. Most of you have 2 banks, more than 1 bank, but most of you are getting screwed over by both of those banks because they're both brick and mortar. They both give you 0.01%. They're both laughing in your face. They're both making lots of money on your back. And if you screw up, they will both charge you overdraft fees, $35, $50. The minimum wage in this country is $7.25. That's 5 times more than your money that you make every single hour of your working day. You make $7.25. And they're going to charge you 5 times more if you just accidentally pay a little too much more for your lunch that day, and you overdraft by accident. And they actually pitched that to you as a good thing. They told you, hey, we have this overdraft program. If you happen to go over, we'll let it go through. We'll let the charge go through, so you can buy your lunch, you can buy that TV, you can pay for your hospital bill, you can go on that trip and not be embarrassed. It's a good thing. We got your back. Don't worry about it. And then you mess up and they charge you 5 times your hourly salary. And we're still not at the worst part. We're still not there. Because it gets much worse. It gets criminal. What should be criminal, but it's not, because our Congress people are not doing their job in protecting us. They're not protecting you. They're letting you get screwed over by your bank. The Congress people let these banks, your bank, JP Morgan Chase, Wells Fargo, Santander, PNC, all of them, they let them screw you over, because what they do, like I said, is criminal. They, instead of recording all of your transactions in order when it comes to determining whether or not you overdrafted on your account, they actually manufacture an overdraft. So these guys, these savvy bankers, they figured out something. They realized that, hey, what if instead of getting 1 overdraft fee from these suckers, our customers, our lovely customers, what if instead of getting 1 overdraft fee, we can get 2 or 3 or as many as we want? Since we don't have to be good people because the Congress isn't doing their job, there's no laws against this, we could reorder their transactions and make them overdraft more than once. Let's say they have $100 in their account and they go out that morning and they spend $10. They're talking about you. You spend $10 in the morning to buy a bagel. And then you go to lunch and you spend $30. Now you have $40. And then let's say you decide to go out for a nice dinner because you deserve it. You've been working very hard. You're an essential worker. You deserve a treat every once in a while. So you go out for dinner at a nice little restaurant in town. You pay $70. That's 40 plus 70. You only have $100 in your account. They're letting all that go through because you're in the overdraft program. They're nice to you. They love you. You're one of their valued customers. They wouldn't block your transaction. They wouldn't let you know, hey, you cannot afford this. Or they wouldn't even say, hey, I know you didn't mean to overdraft, but so we'll look the other way. It's okay. Just get your account back up to where it should be, to at least 0 even, and it'll be okay. Instead of doing that, they say, okay, let it through. Okay, now you're at 110. And because the transaction went through, you don't realize that you're out of money in your bank account. And so you get dessert. And dessert costs you $20. So now you're at 130. And we can stop there. Because that's all we need to know how they screw you over. And so what they do, it's very clever. What they do is, because there's the Congress people, they don't care for you. What they do is they take your transactions, and generally speaking, this is what, from a survey, about 42% of banks do this. They manufacture more overdraft fees from you. They will take your transactions from that day, your breakfast, your lunch, your nice dinner that you just did because you worked hard and you deserve some treats, and your dessert. They'll take all those transactions and they'll order it from most expensive to least expensive. The bank, your bank, the one you give your money to, you trust to hold your money for you in case you ever need it, they'll take your transactions and order it from $70 for your nice dinner that you did for yourself, then $30 for your lunch, then $20 for dessert, and $10 for breakfast. So that's $130. Remember, you only had $100 in there. Instead of having one overdraft fee, you're getting charged 2 overdraft fees now. So now you get charged another $35. And now you're out $70. Sometimes $100, depending on how much they're charging you. And still, you don't look for an alternative. Your bank hates you. Your bank is abusing you. They're just milking you dry. Taking all your money, giving it out to investors and business owners like myself, who then go reinvest it into whatever we want. We make our money, and we pay your bank their 10% or 20%, and then they pay you 0.01%. You lose 2% to inflation, and then they charge you $35 for overdrafting. And then they charge you a second $35 because they can take your transactions in a single day and reorder it, and let the bigger ones clear first so that you overdraft faster, and then they charge you again for another overdraft. And about half of the banks are doing this. And for some reason, you stay with them. You haven't broken up with them yet. For a better option. There are online banks out there who will charge you no fees. And they'll even pay for your ATM fees. We didn't even talk about that. Your bank will charge you ATM fees if you use their debit card elsewhere. But there are better options. There are actually banks out there who care for you. At least much more than your bank cares for you. Of course, they're all businesses, but some actually treat their customers better. Some, like SoFi, my biggest investment, my bank account. They pay me 2% in interest. They cover all of my ATM fees. I don't even look at the fee when I go to the ATM anymore. It's like magic. I just go in, put my card in, take my cash. They say, "Do you care for these fees?" I say, "What fees? I don't see fees." Because SoFi got my back. My online bank, my digital bank has my back. And they cover that. They'll take that bill from me. I'll take my cash and I go and spend it. And if I happen to overdraft because I had a great day, or I had a bad day and needed something and that I couldn't afford, and they let me go through, they let me overdraft, they won't charge me. They'll let me overdraft, which is nice. Your bank does that too. They'll let you overdraft if you choose to overdraft with them, because they're nice, they say. Then they charge you $35. But my bank, my online bank, and there are many options. I like SoFi, but there are many options out there. You can do your research, because my bank gives me 2%, and they pay me my check from my job. I get it 2 days early. I don't have to go wait in line to check it, to cash my check. Comes straight to my bank account 2 days early, and then they pay me on top of it 2%. Why wouldn't anyone choose that over the other options? It's not even two evils. There is an actual evil, one that is just milking you dry, and then there's one that's at least neutral. And at best, they give you money. They care for you. At the minimum, they treat you well. They don't treat you poorly. Why wouldn't you choose this one? Right here. When your bank hates you, your bank sucks, you should leave your bank. Find yourself a better online bank. Better options out there. Don't be afraid to leave. Take all of your cash from that vault, which there's only 10% of it in there. Go to your bank, that teller, tell her, give me all my money. I'm gonna go to SoFi. I'm gonna go to some online bank. They'll give me 1%. They'll give me 2%. They'll give me 2.25% of my money. You only give me 0.01%. You've been screwing me over for years. And you didn't even tell me. And you've been reordering my transactions so that you can charge me more overdraft fees. How dare you? And they'll say, we have nice offices. Don't you like this office? Don't you like this branch? You can sit on a nice couch. You can read some books. You can get a fancy card. Which online banks give you better ones. And you say, peace. I'm gonna take my money, put it in SoFi, put it in some other online bank, whatever the case is, your choice, but there's plenty. Do your research at the very least. Make your 2% interest, offset inflation, take that money that they pay you, your job pays you, invest it into the stock market, into real estate, make some returns, and then keep it. If it's not clear yet, after all this time of you watching this video, your bank is really bad. They're not good to you. You should leave. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope it was helpful. And if it was, we have many more videos at bullacademy.org on YouTube for you to learn how to invest, how to take your money and put it into assets that will yield you more returns so that you can actually have a chance at retiring. And it's all free at bullacademy.org on YouTube. All you have to do is care. So that's it for now. Thank you again, and I'll see you next time.